listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cockerel. You can text the show, when I say the show I mean this one, on 81215. You can follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the Absolute Radio website direct. Oh, I love it when the housekeeping's out the way.
Nice. Morning.
Good morning. Morning, Peter. Morning, everyone. We should say morning to each other like they do on the cricket.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Morning, Richie.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No, I think we should dispense with it already.
It's
Morning,
like
Emily.
when you know...
Oh, that was absolutely vile.
What's that?
Just said morning, Emily.
That sounded horrible.
I like it. You know, like when you do if you do a chat show, something on the telly, chat show, you sit in...
I love, if you do a chat show, oh no, you don't know what that's like.
No, but you talk to the people backstage and chat to them and stuff, and then you say, anyway, we'll start the show, and then you walk on, and then when they come on, you hug them and shake their hands and say hello. You were just talking to them backstage, and no one thinks it's false.
No.
I want to ask you something. No, I don't want to alienate you, Emily, but this is something to do with gentlemen's conveniences.
Won't be alienating moi.
Okay. Now, I don't want to introduce toilet humour of any kind on breakfast radio, so let's keep it clean. But there is something which is confusing me of late.
Okay.
I'm looking to you, Alan, because I need some extra research. I'm finding this. I think I can say urinal on Absolute Radio. Is that all right, Daisy?
Yeah.
I think I can.
When at the urinal, sounds like the beginning of a fabulous poem, but isn't. I've noticed now that people around me using the facility, men, obviously.
I thought you were talking like a policeman.
Yeah,
people.
I was proceeding down the road in a northerly direction. No, but I've noticed lots of unbuckling going on.
Right.
So, blokes get to the urinal, and then it's all completely unbuckling and opening.
When you say unbuckling, which, FY, is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. We'll get on to that.
Why? Oh, go on.
Clanking around like Jacob Marley. Who wants that?
You're right.
When you say unbuckling...
Jacob Marley is, by the way.
Jacob Marley from Christmas Carol. The ghost in the chains.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
Who's dead as a doornail. He basically... Do the trousers go onto the ground?
No, not onto the ground.
Do they take the pants off as well?
No, the trousers just hang there like some sort of...
How are they getting purchased?
Like a terrible nest.
Well, some gentlemen would hold the unbuckled trouser and their gentleman's excuse.
But why are they unbuckling? What happened? You know, why take the roof off if you can get out the front door?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
But that's what fly holes are for. You just stand and you unzip and that's it. When did it start, the unbuckling? What's it about?
Is it a skinny jeans thing, do you think?
Alan.
Skinny jeans.
Well, I
think they're so skinny that they have to give themselves an actual bit of breathing space.
And of course, the skinny jean won't fall down. No,
exactly. You could just go hands-free with the skinny jean.
Skinny jean won't fall down. It's Michael Jackson track that didn't actually make the album.
I thought it was a Kevin Costner film. I really feel for men in urinals, though.
Me too.
Because, no, I think there's something so primitive and barbaric about men having to do that.
Against the wall. You're right.
We get privacy, and I want privacy, please, in that situation. It's like medieval. Why do you have to get into such a strange competition as well? It's horrible. Can I ask you a question?
You can, but I may not answer it.
Okay. If you know someone, this is what makes me ill in the urinal. Let's say you and Alan, in a track in a minute, you both need to go.
Yeah.
There's a urinal. What do you say to each other? All right, mate.
Well... Actually...
Is that what you say?
Frank and I have occasionally been to the bathroom simultaneously in Absolute, and he leaves the full door open. It's not a urinal system here, it's cubicles. Full door open. I've got nothing back across.
I've got nothing to be ashamed of.
Well, I shut it across because I'm not just an unbuckler, I'm a full trouser dropper.
No.
Trousers, boxers, right by the ankles, even at a urinal. No,
so we're barely... I said we keep this clean, but we're barely holding on by our fingernails. I haven't even got to my next problem. And relax.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I unbuckle and fully drop the trousers. That's very dependent on like what I'm wearing. I wouldn't do that if I had my white tux on. I would, I'd probably hold at about thigh level.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think if someone unbuckles in a urine, I think there should be a panic button.
You can hit.
Yeah.
I think a panic button should be in every public toilet. I'm so frightened of public toilets anyway, apart from the intimidation element of just the hygiene thing. We've been so taught now that you can... Oh, God, I don't touch it. Sometimes I'll go...
don't shut the door.
I have gone to a public toilet, done the full sitting down thing, and done the whole thing with a pair of disposable chopsticks. I haven't touched anything with my hands at all. That everything's been on... But I'm so worried. You know, they get those press flushes now, like you've got here, where you press. I use my knuckle, my fist. I sort of punch it.
Like you're bumping fists with someone.
Yeah. Now I'd probably be a really brilliant fighter now, 'cause I've got like poison arrows, my knuckles. I hit someone, they'll get some horrible illness I've got from dozens and dozens of cisterns.
You know what you could do instead is just, when you fill up the car with fuel, get some of those plastic gloves that you sometimes see in service stations.
No, but you can't.
Have
You
a few of
can't
them
be
in your
seen.
inside pocket on your suit.
You can't be seen
Yes, it
disappearing
can't be.
into a cubicle in rubber gloves.
You think not?
No, they'll think I'm doing some sort of... I got some sort of illegal business going on. Certainly
I'm
not.
not sure if that's what they'll think, but anyway.
No.
We have heard from the outside world with a few people suggesting that it is the button fly that is the problem there.
Why is that a problem?
Fly, what, 1985?
People can't be
Nick Cayman
bothered.
ad.
They unbuckle for ease of access, and then you can pull all the buttons off.
Well,
to,
I think
facilitates
it's... I've
the,
got another theory.
Oh.
My experience, let's call it,
Yes.
tells me that the men these days often favour a brief
Oh.
Is that right?
over the boxer.
I've been left behind.
Are you dating a lot of sportsmen? Because I think may have mentioned on this show before that in everyday life I favour a boxer short, but for sporting activities I prefer to be held. So maybe they're just coming straight from five-a-side or something. Is that why they've got the briefs on?
I don't want to go into too much detail, but it's still quite easy to do that all through it's a sort of keyhole surgery approach. It's still quite straightforward. And even the button fly, I've used the button fly without even unbuttoning. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Do you ever use the cubicle then in the men? I don't understand.
I never use a
understand the
cubicle.
setup. What is the setup in there? There's urinals and then one cubicle for someone who's shy.
No, I told them we don't want to let you in on too much of the mystery.
No, I'd like to know. What is
Women's
it?
toilets, I've always imagined there's a lovely trestle table with homemade cakes.
It's like Great British Bake Off in there.
Lots of gingham, I imagine, in a woman's toilets. And people, talking in a lovely way.
We talk lots. We have little lammies on a string.
Yeah.
It's so... The atmosphere... Everyone's so polite.
But I do imagine it's a much lovelier place.
Oh, it's lovely. You come out, and if it doesn't flush, they say, "I'm so sorry, it's not working properly in there," because you want them to know it's not you.
Oh, you
The
see,
flush is broken.
men don't...
No.
Yeah.
Don't communicate.
No, it's not a place you have much conversation.
No.
Maybe we should move on, but I am still intrigued by the buckling, if anyone has got any other theories on it. The button fly is not... To me, I mean, how common is the button fly? That's what we need statistics.
Oh, yeah.
What is the zip button breakdown? Apart from a great name for a band. Wouldn't that be brilliant? Yeah, I saw the old... the ZBB last night. ZBB, they'd call them, wouldn't they? Zip button breakdown.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Their new album. Everyone says I'm really fly for a white guy. Rubbish.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'd like to talk about one of my favourite incidents this week, guys, which was, are you familiar with the work of political editor Nick Robinson?
Yes.
I've long admired his open approach to baldness.
He's got a Guess Who type face, hasn't he? He looks
Very good,
like
Alan.
Yeah.
he'd be one of the cards on Guess Who, definitely.
But I just admire the fact that he's got that
Yeah.
bit at the back and sides, which most men shave off now. I think that's
He looks a bit like if Richard Osman had an incredibly hard life.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say?
I think he looks like Richard Osman if Richard Osman didn't comb his hair up on top. But that's a different story.
He hasn't aged well. Anyway. Well,
Who?
I don't think Nick Robinson's aged very well, I'm just saying.
Oh, I like that
Do you?
look. Yeah, it's sort of Philip Larkin look.
Oh,
It's
okay,
good.
I understand that. I think if I was in a restaurant, I'd say, I'll have what he's not having. He's one of those people.
Poor Nick.
I know, you say that, but he got himself into a right old bit of hot water this week. Did you see him? He was on...
Mortificado.
Was it the Daily Politics show?
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
one with Andrew Neil. Have you been on that, Frank?
No, no.
You were on the Michael Portillo one.
I was on, I
Yeah.
was on the later one.
Yeah. And
That was when I was so out of my depth, I suggested to him I felt like the cab driver who'd been called onto News 24 accidentally. And asked about Microsoft.
Can I go from it? So it was awful. His iPad started blaring out music, and it wasn't just any music. They were in the middle of a very heated political debate, and they were going on about bankers' bonuses, and fat-bottom girls started blaring out.
What was it? Does that mean he's got it on iTunes?
I think he's got it as his ringtone.
And it was Andrew Neil went, "Is that you? Is that me?"
Yeah,
Is
as
that-
if they're both Queen fans and they might both have it
Is
on a
that
ringtone.
me?
That was a
He said, "Is that
weird
me?
thing.
Is that you?"
Yeah, why doesn't Andrew Neil know what his own ringtone is? That was the bit that upset me.
I thought
Just-
it was very much how the elderly deal with technology. So, for
Yeah.
example, if you get cut off, they ring back and say, "What happened there then?"
Yeah, exactly. I hate that conversation.
Yeah.
What happened then? Like you're going to know. Hold on, I'll just check my network screens and see. Oh yeah, a bit of a breakdown of coverage in the western area of the country. No, I must admit, I had a slight a sort of Tourette's thing that I found myself going bicycle, bicycle. Just those two bicycles, and I'd be doing it. I'd be sitting with people who I knew but didn't know that well, and going bicycle, bicycle. Did you see that thing on the telly? And took me a while to realise I was doing it. And I had less of an excuse because...
When is this? How long ago?
Have I not... I'm amazed I haven't done it in front of you guys. Have I never done
I'm relieved.
it? Okay.
I mean, I ignore a lot of the noises that you make. That
Yeah,
aren't-
I do
aren't
as
to do
well.
with the sentence.
No, well, David Baddiel said when he lived with me that after a bit he saw it all as white noise. all these weird bits of things that just emerged from me. But that's quite recent. I'm amazed. But I mean, you've got more of an excuse if it's your iPad than if it's your voice box. If he'd start in the midst of that programme, Nick Robinson had started going bicycle, then I think that could have killed his career off. Though I imagine him on a bicycle. I bet he comes by.
I can.
I imagine he keeps his clips on for the show.
Yeah.
I like it when people have sort of media-facing jobs and they cycle to work. I think it's impressive.
Oh, thinking of anyone at all yourself?
Well, I don't know why they don't end up with a bag and loads of luggage and thinking, oh, well, I might have sweated in that shirt, so I've got a spare one in the bag. I take spare stuff everywhere.
But David Cameron used to have a bloke driving behind him, didn't
With
he, with
his
his
files,
briefcase
yeah.
and stuff in the car.
Because he's fake.
I don't...
Say that.
They didn't
Can I
deal...
say Absolute Radio love all politicians?
She should have started twerking, that woman. I
Didn't
would
he
have
put
done
Absolute
Yeah.
Radio on the map,
David Cameron, yes,
yeah,
he did.
with
He said something...
He swore on air.
Yeah. We're not going to
Yeah.
repeat it.
We
on
certainly
Breakfast
aren't.
Radio.
We're above that kind of thing on this show. Am I right?
Talking
That's
about men
what I was
unbuckling at the urinals after this.
In fact, let me hear you say yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
When they were talking about this incident when Nick Robinson's iPad went off with fat bottom girls, the newspapers said, they always say this, the political pundits saw the funny side.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. They didn't make anything of it.
What
If you two had
was
been there, you would have...
What was the funny side?
Well, they didn't even laugh.
Well,
Did they
I
not?
can see the embarrassing sides that he's a big Queen fan, if that's the case. We were trying to work out what...
Probably 90% of the people listen to Absolute are Queen fans. Can I say that?
Well, I'd just like
Yeah.
to separate me from them. I'm fine with that. I'm really comfortable with that.
I think you're going to alienate people.
That's fine. It's totally fine. Divide and conquer. That's the way I'm playing this radio game.
Fine.
You're going to alienate people. Have you listened to some of your playlist?
Anyway, can I say that Queen are... I can't say. Sticking in my throat. But anyway, they're very popular.
Yeah.
Remember that.
They are.
Okay, yeah, I felt a bit sorry for him, but you know, it's got him a bit of publicity, and he seems like a bit of a character because he likes Queen.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit of a character.
Are we thinking he might be? His attitude to women is a bit squiff, though, with fat bottom girls.
No.
Okay.
If you play this on that show, I will walk.
What, fat bottom girls?
Yeah.
You will walk, and that'll be very apt. So, no, but that's just, I don't know. Could you bring out that single now and people would be fine with it?
No, because I think it's in praise of women with large stereos.
Yeah,
it's not so, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Are you going to say something Jim Davidson now?
No, definitely not.
Some men like the more feminine physique. Right?
Speaking of bottoms and phones in close proximity, you know bomb dialing?
Yes,
when you
I
accidentally,
do,
you
Is that what it's called?
I think that's what it's called, isn't
I've
it?
never heard it being called bum dialing.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've heard it's called a variation of that.
You know when your phone
rings.
rings.
Handbag call.
Yeah. Do you? Well, it depends what you keep your phone, Alan. I think since you've been acting, maybe it is a handbag
A
call.
lot of
Some
handbag calls. Yeah.
Dick Emery handbag.
Exactly.
It's not even from me. I mean, to me. I just assume that it's...
You know, you get you get a call and you answer and you hear.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get I've had phone messages like 8-9 minutes. Of all the times I've been bomb dialed, I have never ever heard anything of even the most minor interest.
You listen all the way through.
They never talk about you, and you hope they will.
But you know, if it happened in a short story, you'd hear them say something very significant about you, which would lead to... Never. If any of our readers have ever been bomb dialed and heard anything of any interest whatsoever, please let us know. I'm not sure it's ever happened.
No, I think you might be right. It's not to me.
I do know something that happened, but it's to a famous person. I can't say. I'm sorry.
You can give them a false name. Let's call them Eric McGiven.
No, I can't.
Why not? You can't call them Eric McGiven.
No, because
Is
I'll
it
have
too close to
Then
the,
I'll have to think of a false name for the TV show.
Eric McGiven, and the show is called The Bells of Wales. And it's about have audio recordings in Wales. There you go. There's your raw materials. We'll have a bit of commercial radio blather, and then we'll come back to your your reconstructed anecdote. Don't let me down.
Frank Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
And now for my reward.
Your reward is the tale of... Well, what we're doing, in case anyone wasn't listening to that last link, because I do have a story about, what do you call it, Frank? When someone calls someone, we're allowed to say bottom calling. Because when someone calls someone by mistake...
bomb dialing.
Yeah, bomb dialing. And this involves a celebrity.
Okay.
So, in order to protect my my life, really, I'm going to change the names of everyone involved to your suggestion, Eric McGiven.
Yeah, he's the main character.
Is the main character. And the show he was in is called The Bells of Wales.
The Bells of Wales.
Yeah. So as we all know, The Bells of Wales, huge hit show.
Yeah.
Everyone wants a piece of it.
Yeah.
Massive.
Eric McGiven, at any point it becomes obvious who this is, you have to stop me.
Okay. But there are many big shows, so don't worry
Eric
about
McGiven, he created it as well.
Okay.
It's his concept.
Yeah.
Didn't just star in it.
Okay.
So, Eric McGiven is sitting at home, and the phone rings, and it's a bum dial.
I imagine his ringtone is from St David's Cardiff, which is programme 1, if you remember. That's the one they did.
Yeah. It's my favourite ep. Normally I don't like the first ep of things, but...
I liked it series 7 when they were doing little country chapels that you would normally go to.
Yeah.
I hated it when people trying to be cool, calling it BOW.
Yeah. And the Christmas special, the Town Crier Christmas special, for me, waste of time. So anyway...
That's when it jumped the shark, innit?
He got a call, Eric.
Anyway.
So, he gets a call, Eric, from the producer of the Bells of Wales, who we shall call...
We call...
the producer of the Bells of Wales.
What do we call him? What about Ken Penology? Ken Penology, 'cause it's a bit like Campanology, which
That
is
name
bell
rings
ringing.
a bell. Yeah.
Yeah, pull the other one. Oh. So Ken Penology rings him up.
That's a bomb dial.
Campanology bomb dials Eric McGiven.
Yeah.
And what Eric McGiven hears is Campanology trying to chat up a lady,
Okay.
saying, well, you know, the Bells of Wales was all down to me.
Oh.
It was my idea from the start. No one wanted to do it. I told Eric McGiven all about it, and I sold it to him. I managed to persuade him, and eventually we made it.
Oh.
And apparently, it seemed to go down well with the lady. Campanology pulled as a result.
Good, he pulled. That's right. That's, but how did Eric feel?
Well, I think he found it amusing.
No, but
He said-
did Eric mention it to Ken, or did he just, as this something that Ken is still
No,
unaware of?
how Eric McGiven dealt with it was tell everybody but Ken Penology.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right.
The opposite of what
see.
you do, Frank.
That sounds very show business with Eric.
Okay.
So, if you're any the wiser on that,
Well, I liked it better for not knowing. I personally. I'm going to play some music first.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We were talking about a terrible phone.
well, Eric McGiven we were talking about,
Yeah.
and in a similar vein, 981 says, just after my daughter was born, a friend rang accidentally, and I heard him describing my baby Willow as looking like Churchill. I wasn't angry for long, as it was true.
Oh, okay.
Luckily, she is beautiful now and listening now. Great. Oh, he then dispenses some praise. That's Andy and Willow in Leytonstone.
How lovely. But I see Willow, he was moving towards Winston. That one stopped himself at the last minute. Do all babies look like people? They say, don't they? It's a cliche that people say all babies look like Churchill.
No, my niece Bertie looked like Joe Calzaghe when she was born.
I think Buzz looks a bit like Russell Tovey. I do.
Funny because it's true.
It is true. Funny, but it's true. What loneliness can do. Everybody. Okay. I did I tell you I was in mass once in a Catholic church,
So it was one of those clubs near you.
and my phone went off, which is always terrible. It's only ever happened to me once in church, and at the time I had 3 Lions as my ringtone, just to treble.
Oh dear.
Treble the. I got rid of
That
it.
is hoisted on your own.
It was
petard.
also, it was like in the early days of ringtones, so it's sort of like, ooh, ooh, ooh,
Was it like Crazy Frog quality?
ooh. It wasn't like an actual recording of the song, so that was...
Oh dear.
Did you read about Alfie Boe? He's
Yeah.
that tenor, and he...
we know Alfie Boe.
Oh, do you? Oh, good. I just have to check.
Is he... Where's he... I think he's one of the Bows of Wales.
Is he?
Yes.
I think he might
Yeah.
be, yeah.
Alfie Boe. I saw him in funnily enough, La Boheme.
Did
Did you?
I did, yeah. How weird.
Why is
Somebody
everything Boe related
It's
with
only
him?
just struck me that he probably thought, well, dear, he's got Bow in it.
He's doing-
Essentially,
He only does Boe. He guest vocaled with the Bo Diddley.
he did.
He's doing a musical of Robin Hood, just because it's got Archer in it.
Yeah.
Bow and
Yeah,
arrow.
here we go.
Lovely
Sorry,
performance
it's a bit-
in
it's a bit
Beaugest.
laboured.
He's doing a brilliant version of Oranges and Lemons. Bells of Bow.
Oh, is it?
Okay. Let's leave it there.
okay.
'Cause,
Well,
you know,
he was in the paper because he answered someone's phone when it went off. This is one of my bugbears, like when a comedian
You're
does
your
that at
bugbears.
a comedy stuff. When people answer phones at comedy gigs,
oh, yeah,
it's
shut
like
up about it.
everyone sort of goes, "Oh, yeah, it's a bit, it's sort of easy, laugh."
Why, do comics do that a lot, do they?
Yeah, it's a reasonably easy way of dealing
Have you
with
done
a
it?
phone. I've done it in the past. I've moved
Have
on.
you done
I
it,
like to
Frank?
think.
No, I don't do
Okay.
it. I don't
Doesn't
do any
that
easy
kind of
stuff.
crowd work.
Okay.
But when let's say a civilian that is a public speaker does it, it's like, oh wow, how irreverent! Isn't that amazing? He took the phone call and he said to the woman's mother, "Yeah, I'm Alfie Boe, and your daughter's standing next to me." Oh, brilliant! I just think, no, it's still rubbish, isn't it? Isn't it, though? But like that, like if a teacher says something remotely funny,
Yeah.
like like say a priest, like it's a priest in front of a congregation, I believe they're called. If somebody got up and went out, and the priest went, "Oh, while they've gone, shall we all hide?" Which is a hack line in a comedy club, but in a church that'd be like, "Whoa, wow, brilliant!"
Well, if there's a priest, you feel that you had to hide.
Oh, would
No,
it?
I think-
asked.
Oh, I don't quite know.
Are you
what
suggesting
goes on.
it's sort of low-hanging fruit then?
Yeah.
To a degree.
Mind you, for a priest,
It's
that
the dog on its
50-year-old
hind
joke
legs. Are we
is
back
probably
to
like new
Buckley?
material. I think we are, actually.
I had a didn't I tell you? This is so awful. When in my single days many years ago.
Here we go. Legend alert.
Yes,
Got a feeling.
I met a woman in a in a drink
Your attitude towards his behaviour sickens me.
it's a cafe actually, and
Civilised.
I
Cheap.
texted her. I texted her the next day. Have I got time to tell this story? I texted
You've
her.
taken this hot date on the night of her life to a cafe.
No, I just met her. I met her there.
Okay.
And she gave me a number, and I texted her the next day. And this makes me sound really bad, but it was a long time ago.
Go on.
I didn't know any better. I texted her, and it said, "Does my memory deceive me, or have you got a fantastic bottom?" I've cleaned it up a bit, and then I sent it, and then I thought,
To Nick Robinson.
hold on. And I realised I sent it to my niece.
Oh, no.
And I went into a mad panic, and I thought, I've got to phone her and tell her. So I phoned her, and I said, "Have you had a text from me in the last hour?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "It wasn't meant for you." She said, "Oh, I just thought it was you being weird." Thanks.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
Okay, yeah, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Oh, I shouldn't have had almonds.
Oh, you don't like this either, do you?
No.
Like eating on the radio.
No, because people do it to seem wacky. And I think wackiness has to come from the inner core of a person rather than have them thinking, I know how I'll be seen as wacky. I'll get some colourful spectacles and wear a cat's sweatshirt. Not one belonging to a cat. I mean, one
one
based on
featuring cats.
the musical. I mean, hey, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. You can text us on 812. I'm sorry, with Emily Dean and Alan Cockerel. Completely forgot about them. Text us on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the Absolute website. Yeah, email. Remember that?
We had a text actually from 275. One of the subjects we were discussing this morning was this unbuckling issue at urinals that you've noticed.
Yeah. Why don't men unzip? Why do they unbuckle nowadays?
I'm loving the almonds. Alan's staring at he's got almonds in his teeth. He's trying to pick them out.
Yeah. We should talk for a while. Give him a
Harry,
chance.
Oh, I've got it now.
have you got it?
It's the last time I did radio with a mouthful of almonds.
Good to have a rule.
Anyway, Harry fesses up, "I am an unbuckler and have never considered threading the needle, as it were.
Oh, my goodness.
The reason for this is it just seems a bit Benedict Cumbersome the other way." Can I say that's rather fine work, Harry?
It is. I like that.
Yeah. So we've had some texts. I think it might be time to go down to our old familiar terrain, Frank.
Okay. Here goes he. Email corner.
Okay. I'd like to start with an email from Gavin.
Oh, yeah?
Gavin says, "I like to spread my radio listening around various stations.
Oh, okay.
However,
I don't like that, I find it a bit uncomfortable when we talk about other radio.
so do I.
It's sort of, yeah. Anyway.
No, I love other radio.
Oh, good.
Specifically Smooth
I think
FM.
it brings a lot of people here.
However, it was with great surprise that on TalkSport I heard the name of Alan Cochrane used.
Blimey.
The situation was... I like someone starting it with the situation
Was it
was.
in their amateur judo results? section. Is it judo you do?
Oh,
Karate.
Let's not get into the martial arts
Karate.
conversation. I'm recovering from an injury anyway, so.
Okay.
But I don't know why TalkSport would be discussing. Let's
But is it
find out.
judo?
I do. I do some.
It's jiu-jitsu.
I do.
I do some.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I do.
I haven't been going to judo much because of the bad back. It's not.
Okay.
It's not ideal if people are trying to throw you on said back.
No.
But I do a thing called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I don't really like to dwell on it.
I like the sound of the Brazilian bit.
Yes.
The situation was...
How do they get any purchase? Must be like trying to hold a big fish in your arms. Okay.
I'm relieved to know that I'd be qualified for that.
Oh.
The situation...
I think that's an overshare. I think that's officially an overshare, isn't it?
I nearly went. If you get that, congratulations. If you don't, I'm not explaining it.
The situation was
Yeah.
that TalkSport wanted very loose connections to celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
One listener made contact and mentioned his family know the grandparents of Gordon Strachan, who he described as very nice.
Mm-hmm.
He then finished by saying he had a brother who was a comedian called Alan Cockerel.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, can Alan confirm the family connection to the Strachans and hopefully the niceness of them? And does he know that his brother is, for the want of a better phrase, name-dropping him ahead of his upcoming TV sitcom series? That's from Gavin.
Yeah, the cruelest thing about this is that I phoned TalkSport and said, I'm Alan Cockerel, that's a loose connection to celebrity, and they said too loose. No, yeah, that is true. I believe it was...
What should we call the Cockerel brothers?
Let's call them the Cockerel brothers.
The brothers Cockerel, I like.
Yeah, okay.
But I've asked them both, and it was neither of them. It's just some Spartacus figure phoning up saying, I'm Alan Cochrane's brother.
But are you
He's
related?
lying.
Are you related to Gordon Strachan?
No, but someone in the family knew his gran or him and said they were very nice. It's one of the things that my mum or my gran say all the time. Like, we know Gordon Strachan's family, but they don't really.
I've met Gordon Strachan. He said he was not managing at the time. He was doing a bit of punditry.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "You're going to go back to managing?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "I like making players better, improving players. That's what I do." And I said, he said, "That's what I do." And I was completely... I always think 2 is your minimum when you don't understand someone. If you ask them for a third time,
really.
they might just punch you in the face.
See, I know what you're saying, that's what I do.
That's what I do, he was saying, but I really...
speak it, it's part of my culture.
Yeah, but, I mean, you got to make some allowances for people who don't speak.
You know he reviewed me at the Edinburgh Festival.
Gordon Strachan did?
I think I might have told you this when I was on the show as a guest. He came to one of my Edinburgh shows in 2004, and then he wrote up in, like, The Guardian or something, my first Edinburgh Festival, because up till that point he'd always been in pre-season training.
Right.
So he'd gone to the Edinburgh Festival, he bumped into Kevin Day in the lobby and said, what should I go and see? Kevin Day had said, I hear Alan Cochrane's show's good. So he went to it, and then he wrote it up in the paper, and I used it as a poster quote the following year. It said, Alan Cochrane was decent, which I really like. It's such a football manager thing to say about someone, isn't it?
Decent? Oh, blimey, damn it. Well, he could have said anything.
Yeah.
That's what they think he said. All ginger people now, all ginger celebrities, I feel I have some sort of connection with, because Buzz is ginger. It's like the way people who marry into the Kardashians suddenly have a whole new insight on stupidity.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I have another email for your perusal. Hello, Frank, Emily and Alan. I'm wondering if I can lay claim to being your oldest regular reader. I'm 66 3/4 and go back to the Gareth days. Although I don't own a Tour T-shirt, I do have a Hank Marvin Tour tea towel. Excellent. But even so, I'm probably way off your demographic. Also, Frank, I know you tired of having guests on the show.
Yes.
I don't know if you're tiring of them.
No, I did tire of them. Let's be honest about it.
He's absolutely nailed that. It's the right word for the right circumstance.
Is it a he or a she talking?
Good question. It says the name is
both.
Wibbly Byman, but I don't know what you know, Wibbly Byman, is that a made-up name? That's a pun, isn't it? I don't know what.
It
but,
sounds...
Or is it a character? Sounds like it could be a literary figure. Also, Frank, I know you're tired of having guests on the show, but any chance of getting your girlfriend Kath in occasionally? She sounds like a real gem, and I feel that were he alive and a reader, A.E. Houseman himself would have a soft spot for her. Regards,
who did she say would have
A.E. Houseman.
Who was it again?
A.E. Houseman.
Oh, yes.
Oh, of course.
In case you're a new listener, there's a policy on Absolute Radio that if anyone mentions the poet A.E. Houseman, so it's like once you've said it on the show, it only goes off the first time on each show, that there is an alarm goes off, and this has been in for many years. I thought for a second that we've been recently taken over. I thought they might have dropped it, but they've just delayed it a little.
I like the idea of Kath being on the show, though.
Yes, I do worry about her language, which is basically out of control. I can't imagine her going 3 hours without saying something the broad one would have classed as swearing.
Yeah.
Because I keep having debates with her, but please don't say that in front of the baby.
Oh.
Speaking of babies, I'm amazed that Hank Marvin hasn't brought out a range of bibs.
Oh, yeah.
With I'm Hank Marvin on there to cash in on the
It's a good idea.
That'd be good, yeah.
Do you think it's true that she's got an Hank Marvin tea towel? To a tea towel?
Is Wibbly a female name?
I don't know what he or she... Let's just call them Wibbly.
I'm having the Enid Blyton problem all over again. You know, I was about 15 when I found out Enid Blyton was a woman.
And then you never read it again?
No, I'm still...
But Enid's a fairly common...
It wasn't for me. I didn't go to school with any Enids.
Anyway. I'm on tour this year, so I'm thinking the tea towel could be the...
Oh, yeah.
Frank Skinner, dry sense of humour.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. Let's talk merch.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'd like to talk about a terrible incident I had recently. I've actually been the victim of a miscarriage of justice, I'm calling it. Okay. I've had people presuming things about me which simply aren't the case.
Okay.
I'm
tense. You a bit tense?
I'm tense, yeah.
Okay. You might get more tense. I'm going to call it one of my falls, Frank, this week.
Oh, okay.
One of my falls. I was descending they're sort of white wooden stair. Daisy's familiar with them, Frank also. A bit Provençal. Nice. You're not, Alan. Sorry about that.
Not seeing the stairs.
Sorry.
I can't remember. Do you have carpet?
No, it's white wooden Provençal.
I see. It's always a risk.
Mm-hmm.
I had... I'm going to be honest about what I was wearing.
Okay.
I had a bra on.
Okay.
And black bra, black tights. It was a bit bunny girl.
Right.
A bit 1960s.
So no shit. You see a stocking foot on a wooden stair.
Yeah, very slippy. Very slippy.
I mean, I can't tell you how many people have accidents like that.
Mm-hmm.
Holding a cup of tea.
No, I actually can't, because I don't have that kind of information.
You haven't got the stats.
Okay, so you're
holding a tea.
It's in the morning.
You weren't holding a hot
I'm
drink
rushing to go to... I'm not going to lie, I'm going to visit my therapist, okay?
You don't have to lie about that.
I'm holding a cup of tea.
Is he all right with you just turning up dressed like that?
You said you dressed first.
Oh, she.
This is where it gets interesting.
Fine, she just wears a chemise.
She believes we need to express ourselves.
No, I think that I'm with her on that.
Do you think this sounds all right, this therapy? Anyway.
She does lingerie.
Sounds great.
Right, she's one of the few lingerie psychoanalysts left in London.
Anyway.
Baby Doll Baxter, she's known.
Is she?
Carry on.
I'm rushing down the stairs. You can't be late for your therapist. If you're late for your therapist, you know that's going to come up in the session.
Do they read a lot into it?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what happens?
Yeah.
That's their job, really.
That's their job. Again, two blokes in a pub. That's their job, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm walking down the stairs with the cup of tea, an Edinburgh Festival, Margaret was. I was rushing. I went flying.
Oh, no.
EastEnders theme tune properly.
Oh, no.
Dun, 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 dun.
How many stairs up were you, would you say, when you went?
I fell about 8.
Oh, dear, that's a lot.
Yeah. 6 to 8.
I find that just missing the last step can jar the back.
Yeah.
My coccyx, I could feel it.
Oh, no.
It went right, I landed right on it. I sat there and I cried.
Mm-hmm.
I think
briefly.
that's fair enough.
Do you think that's fair enough?
It shakes you. The coccyx. The trouble is, you always worry that when you reach that the top of your spinal cord's just come out at the top of the scalp. You know,
And
that you have
also-
to press it back in.
As someone who lives alone, obviously I thought I'm going to be eaten by Alsatians. No one's going to know.
Yeah, have you got Alsatians? I think that's people who own Alsatians that happens to.
They don't just roam in like rats.
What, I mean, do you remember the...
You say that, you should have been around in the 70s, because they were everywhere, those dogs.
they
Was
were-
this an urban myth about the woman who was putting the meat in the oven and the oven toppled over and it fell back and her arm was trapped in the oven door and it pinned down by the oven and her arm slow cooked over the weekend?
Oh, that's such an urban
What, with
myth.
her attached to it?
With her attached to, yeah, she was
Right.
pinned down. She had to lie there.
Her arm.
But was she alive while her arm was
Oh
cooking?
yeah, she was alive.
Oh, so she got to smell her own arm cooking. That's
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah. I bet-
I
Armin.
got hungry about a day in.
Oh God! If she was thinking, "Oh God, it smells great," my arm.
My arm in.
Yeah.
Armin. Very good.
Okay. Well, we'll have to come back to this. 'cause
Oh,
we
okay,
have- we
I've
have-
got
we
more
have-
to talk about.
Oh, I'm sure. I like this.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
We were
At the
as I
bottom of
think-
my stairs.
as I think Robin, the nephew of Kermit the Frog, said, we were halfway down the stairs.
We
halfway
were.
up the stairs.
Ironically, we had to break your fall story, didn't we?
You
For
did.
a song.
So you fell 8 steps and landed in
6
a
to
heap.
8, I'm going to
And
say.
you landed in a
68.
6 to 8.
in a
I thought
heap.
it's just
at
some
the
quick
bottom.
exaggerating.
Oh, the
I
idea of you crying in just a bra and pantyhose. There's something terrible like that. It's like the cover of one of
Glad you
those
said
true...
terrible. I thought you were going to say that was a great...
No, you know those
Yeah.
true detective comics from the 50s when there'd be a woman in her underwear crying on the cover. See,
But isn't it
feels like
awful that because I was on my way out the door, hair and makeup was done, so I felt relieved. I felt momentary relief that if they come to get me, I look quite good.
that? But didn't you have a bit of an Alice Cooper from the Tears?
No, waterproof eye makeup,
Oh,
always, even
very-
in a crisis.
Very sensible.
So,
What if you want to do some impromptu synchronised swimming?
yeah.
Straight in.
Well, so I went to my therapist, and I started to realise a bruise formed, very quickly a bruise formed, a massive bruise. I realise, and we're still in the sort of post-Christmas area at the moment, when you tell people...
How
"Where
big,
did you
how
get
big
that?"
was the bruise formed site?
I'd say it was covering a quarter of
Of your
my
forearm?
Oh, it was huge.
Oh, blimey.
It was huge. I said, "Oh, this is terrible. I did it falling down the stairs." Everyone, the same reaction everywhere. Oh yeah. How much did you have to drink?
Of course.
See what happens.
How much had you had?
Well, what I started doing, I got so annoyed with my trainer. He said, "Oh, you old drunk. You old drunk."
Blimey.
I said, I wasn't. It was, and then I thought it happened at 8:30 a.m. But because I was so angry about being called a drunk, I started telling lies about the incident for some reason. I said it happened at 7:30, as if that made me seem less likely
Yeah,
that
you
we've
weren't
been
quite
drinking.
so drunk by that
That
stage.
just makes me think you're more likely to still be over the limit from the previous
Should
night. It's
have-
like,
At 7:30.
like a driving thing.
I
Yeah.
kept saying it was the morning.
I
They said,
remember
"Oh, right."
those days. Wake up, still fighting drunk. Fantastic.
But Frank, I've always been suspicious. Anyone with
I know
bruises,
that.
show me a bruise, I'll show you a drunk. I generally think. So
What about show you a slow cooked forearm?
that's not true. That
Oh,
story.
no, probably.
Well, we've had no verification
No.
either way.
I mean, what did the therapist? The therapist didn't say, "Ooh, I've been drinking," because they don't say that
No,
kind of thing, do they?
no, because she's not like that. Fortunately,
Did she say,
she just raised an
can
eyebrow.
you put some clothes on, please?
She said, "You're rather overdressed for our session." She said, "Oh, how did that happen? That looks
Oh no!
nasty."
You see, I'd worry me a therapist. I think, oh, how did that happen? There's part of you that feels that you're in a higher status than you really should be, so you're trying to cast yourself down a few steps on the ladder, and this
Yes,
has
how did that
manifested
happen?
itself in a physical way. We'll come back to this because I'm very intrigued by the danger elements.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were talking about Emily
My
falling
fall.
down the stairs. Tights, I imagine, are even shinier than socks on a wooden stair.
Oh, there's a big sheen. There's a big martin.
Slippier.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
They're very slippy, and you just go. Once you go, you go.
You see,
Because then you can't get any purchase.
It's awful. I've had occasion in my professional career to wear fishnet tights, and that's a different
What
story.
occasions were those? What, fantasy football league?
Sure.
No, yeah. If I've dressed in, in sketches, I've dressed in
sketches you wrote.
Yeah, maybe I did write
Sketches
them.
you wrote to be performed at Raymond's Review Bar.
Anyway, I felt very confident in a fishnet foot.
Wow.
It's a bit like having, I'd take on an icy road in fishnets.
Right.
You put chains on the car wheels in really.
Yeah.
It's like that.
I
Is
would
it?
totally agree with you, Frank.
A real great grip.
You can get a grip.
Really?
It's like the base of a timberland.
If I were you, I would keep a couple of fishnet pop socks at the top of the stairs just for that, for that journey.
Makes sense.
I've started the descent in
Or a
hobnail
Stana
boots
stair
now.
lift.
Well, better still get a.
How dare you?
Why don't you get a fishnet stair carpet?
Because I don't want my house to look like Dr. Frankenfurter's abode.
No, you're quite right. Are they still classed as, I'm going to use the word, sexy fishnet?
Oh,
Well,
please
not since
don't.
this conversation.
Please
no, I
don't use
think
that
so.
word. It's disgusting.
Okay. Foxy.
Oh.
Um,
You're going to say panties in a minute. I'm going to leave
I'm
the
not going
studio.
to say, I would never say
Okay.
panties. I
Okay.
say knickknacks.
Just caused some confusion when tidying up the bric-a-brac.
No.
But when it
Can I
used
tell you
to
what I
be-
think fishnets have become? They're a little bit BBC Newsreader doing a skit where they're pretending to be sexy.
I'm a bit children in need dance.
They're a bit children in need dance,
Yeah,
the
they
fishnet
are. They've
now.
gone a bit fancy dress, you're right.
Yeah.
It's all about the bare leg now.
Yes, it's right. Isn't it must be terrible for a garment like that when it's been the very height of sort of sauciness, suddenly becomes just like a cheap joke.
Yeah,
It is a bit.
Consider ye the peephole brassiere.
indeed.
It's,
Oh, let's not.
And
Yeah,
the
that's,
cape. You were a fan of the cape for a resurgence.
I don't think of the cape as a...
There was a time when the cape
What about
would
the
have been
cape
the
just
height
without
of fashion.
What about
Just
tights and a
hold
bra
on,
and a cape?
The cape does not fit into this category.
Doesn't it?
Hold on, I'll be with you a minute. I'm just going to pop to Ann Summers for a cape.
Oh.
Whoever said that?
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I reached what I can only describe as a parental milestone this week. I've heard many parents refer to this moment over the years, but being a non-parent, I just thought, shut up.
Has he seen you in the fishnets? Is that what this is?
No, not yet. Though we have got a section of wooden stair with no carpet, so I'm thinking I might take up the pop sock
Yeah.
Yeah, careful on
Thing.
that stair.
myself. You could have a fishnet safety net. Raised just above. Anyway, no, this is something that people have always said to... a couple of people have asked me, have you blah blah yet? And I've said no. So it happened this week. For the first time, I am in bare feet. I've stood on my first Lego.
Really?
Wow.
And oh man,
The pain.
I had no idea it hurt. Why does it hurt that much?
Oh, it's
It's worse than a plug, isn't it?
It went right up my... Oh, God.
A plug's bad.
I'll tell you something about a plug, though.
Tell us something about a plug.
I had a mate, and he had an auntie in Margate, so we had a weekend at the seaside, and we went and stayed. And his auntie was... she was in a bad way, because she was rotund. Let's put it that way. She was a big woman. She'd been... changing a light bulb or doing some of the curtains or something, standing on a chair. This sounds like the woman with the arm in the cooker, but it's absolutely true. She stepped off the chair, she stepped onto a 3-pin plug that went through her heel.
No.
Oh.
It went through the skin of her heel. And apparently as she lay waiting for the ambulance, she powered a 2-bar electric fire for 25 minutes, just with her own vibrant personality. No, but it's true. It went through her
Really?
foot. She had like a proper... she had a lot of dressing on, but she
Yeah.
said that she had a proper 3-pin holes in the bottom of her.
Do you right injury that?
Well, then I presume...
Yes, that is an injury.
Yeah.
Well, the extra padding would have helped, you see.
Do you think?
But, even the fattest people...
It's like putting a plug in a Cornish pasty. It's going to stick, isn't it?
Yeah, but do they get very... You never have anyone with fat soles.
Oh, you do.
Do you?
Peter.
Oh, yeah.
They got fat soles.
You see,
Well,
I've
you sort of
seen
grow
that.
your own platforms. Fat forms, they could call them. I used to be 5'9", but since I put weight on, I'm 6'2". I've got fat form.
People have fankles,
I believe Chris Rock refers to it as baking bread in yo shoes. I believe he refers to it.
Oh, that's when you get that bit of spilling.
Yes.
That's a sort of a muffin top, but in a shoe.
For the foot, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I
anyway,
like it.
you and the piece of Lego. What sort of Lego, may I ask, was it? I'm intrigued.
Well, it was to be strictly technically speaking, I think it's called Duplo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, I know
Duplo. Which is the Bridge 2 Lego, but it still really hurt. I suppose I've yet to reach the ultimate honour, which is to stand on a roller skate at the top of the stairs. But, it will come.
Emily's been doing that.
Oh, God, yes.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cockerel. Text us on 81215. No, please. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the Absolute Radio website.
And people have been texting in. You said that you've had like a parental rite of passage this week by stepping on Lego for the first time.
Yeah.
You've inadvertently started a stepping on things texting. Frank,
okay.
I found that wearing Lego shoes helps. Instead of hurting, you just get taller. Excellent work from Stephen Prenton.
Maybe I could make some Lego shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I feel this pain. 999. Have you ever stood on the adjuster bit on a bra? Oh, that's painful.
I've never done that.
Yeah, I was burying the body of an ex-girlfriend at the time. I was just trying
I was using my hands and legs to get it off.
When you're fed up of digging and you start just trying to tread them down.
Have you never had a discarded bra?
I've never been involved with a discarded bra. How dare you?
No, but have you never?
I've never.
Has one never been thrown off in the heat of passion?
Well,
it's all far too regimented.
Maybe not. But I've never stood on a bra clasp.
I have.
And that really hurts.
Oh, hurts.
I like that. Sound like you'd sneaked in a car advert.
Hurts much. Yeah. Anyway,
sponsored by them.
We digress. It's now time for a section
We digress
of the show.
could be the slogan of this show.
We digress could be a pop band that have been on like the X Factor or something, couldn't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I believe we have a section of this show called Bieber Watch where we discuss the one that is Justin Bieber.
Let's see if I've got the jingle here.
Have you got a jingle for Bieber?
Las Vegas. There it is.
Nice. 11 police cars descended on Justin Bieber's mansion on Tuesday to investigate an alleged vicious egg attack on his neighbour. Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously visited West Yorkshire and he's heard about Mischief Night. Have you heard about Mischief Night?
No.
What's Mischief Night?
Is that
go
like
out
Halloween?
And throw eggs at... Yeah.
Is that their version of Halloween?
Yeah, essentially. You just go out and get up to Mischief. And Bieber, he's still in the age bracket where Mischief Night would be acceptable. So
How old is he now?
Mischief
19?
Night means something very different to me.
Does it?
He is, I'd say he's 19, but this is what happens if the teenagers get mansions. They will egg their neighbours.
It's great that he's got a mansion at 19.
Innit?
Yeah.
I mean, as you know, ich liebe Bieber.
Pardon?
But he is a very great fool, because he's 19 and he's like, he's had everything for him. I imagine they were Fabergé eggs, that's why they were so dangerous.
That's £20,000 worth of damage, but that was just to the Fabergé eggs, not to the house.
I mean, how do you do that much damage with the eggs?
What was he doing?
He must have got the
Maybe
hard
it was
bit.
Diamond omelette. What I don't understand about it, and what I find extraordinary about this, is if you're going to egg someone, don't make it your neighbours.
No,
it's quite hard to make a clean getaway.
You know what they say, don't egg on your own doorstep.
That's what they say.
Yeah?
Yeah. Confucius
He was
says so.
detained in his garage.
Was he?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like it was a night in the strange ways. He was detained in his garage.
Was he with the rest of his
where
band? Was it Garage Band?
Well, yeah, and then it said the police were searching for evidence including any other eggs in the house.
Oh.
So they must have been going through
It's
the
lucky he
fridge.
took his shirt off, because that would have had splashings.
Yeah.
I bet he took his shirt off when he heard there was 11 police cars outside.
I hope
And
he
they were
hasn't
looking
got-
for eggs.
I hope he hasn't got like a home recording studio and they walked in and there's just all those egg boxes all over the walls.
You know what? I
Old
hope
school.
he hasn't got a home recording studio. Is it something to do with the fact that he's Canadian? Because I think Canadians are seen as very sort of mild-mannered, gentle, calm, nice people.
Not this one.
Yeah, well, I wonder if he's trying to break against that stereotype
No,
of
I
him.
think he's trying to break an egg.
Whereas Bublé...
Oh,
he's
Bublé's lovely.
He's embraced Canadianism.
He's a friend of the show.
Yeah. Is
Does he like Bublé
Yes, he
now,
is,
doesn't
because he was very nice to you on that Graham
I
Norton.
suppose I said
did.
we did say you split the Canadians. Bieber, Bublé, Bublé, Bieber.
Have you ever been
Sorry.
egged, either of you?
I don't think I have ever been egged. I
I've been
remember-
egged.
Alan? Oh, when were you egged?
I was egged, I think, in a Halloween incident by some ne'er-do-wells in Cardiff.
Was it
where I
Mischief
a
Night?
student. Yeah, I think it was Mischief Night. Yeah.
It's
It's
not
been like
nice.
trick or treat type time of
It's
the
happened to me.
year.
Were you doing a bit of extra work on the Bells of Wales?
Yeah. Yes. Back then I was in that hit. You can't see me.
Yeah, that massive hit. And Eric said, "Okay, can we do that one again, guys?"
Yeah.
It said,
Because-
and as himself, Alan Cochrane. That's what it said.
Yeah, I've been egged. Have you been egged?
Oh, yeah, I've been egged.
Have you?
Can you imagine me being egged? It was awful.
In what capacity?
I was a student. I say student. I was wearing suede high heel boots, and I believe it was a velvet miniskirt.
Oh, that's egg could do a lot of damage.
Can
to
you
velvet.
imagine? It's tenacious character, egg.
Yeah.
And I was walking down the front in Brighton, and someone passed. I was going to a gentleman's apartment, and someone passed in a car. And I felt the impact of the egg, and then I just
right.
saw shell
You
everywhere.
see, it is assault. It's bad.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
I've been egged and I've been chickened. I just can't remember what order happened in.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Oh, hold on, I haven't put your microphone
thanks
up. I
very
can
much.
only apologise.
We did that on purpose.
I don't think I've ever done that before. How awful! What would your analyst say about that? That I just wanted to silence
My
it.
analyst would say, "Why do you think you did that?"
Yeah,
Really? Is that the sort of thing?
Yeah, you have to go on the journey. You have to discover why you behave as you do.
That was my version of being a rotting stag.
You think?
Not rising. I thought it could be.
Why do you think you did that? That's what I've got for an analyst role.
No, I'll tell you what the analyst would say. How did it feel? How did it make you feel when you did that?
It made me feel awful
Oh, okay.
because I could hear. Yeah.
Like someone at the end of a phone in a cartoon.
Yeah, like someone from the north was trapped in the attic of my house, and I was in the kitchen downstairs. Could just hear that. It's terrible.
That sounds like the voiceover to a cartoon or something. Suddenly there's a version of me on Pingu or something.
I love the idea
You do
of that.
know, don't you, that you sound like the voiceover of a cartoon?
No,
Have we
I
not
didn't.
told you that before?
I thought I sounded more like da, 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 da. Like
There it is again. I'm just getting. I've ascended the stairs. I'm getting nearer the attic now to let you out.
Take his mic down again.
Someone up there. Can I help you? Well, I can't move. So, sorry.
Imagine if Cal started saying, "Oh, Alan's up there again."
So no, I'm sorry I didn't
that's all right. don't worry
raise
about it.
your fader.
Let's move on. We've had a few texts in from the outside world. We were talking earlier about bum dialing on the mobile phone to other people.
You know, when you accidentally call someone.
Yes, using your bottom. And we've had a text from Joe saying, "Hi Frank, me and my girlfriend were making out. Later that week, my girlfriend revealed to me that she had bum dialed her dad during this session, and he may have heard the entire affair.
No.
We hoped not."
I worry about you because you say making out, and I don't like that.
Me? I didn't. I was reading.
No, I'm not saying you personally. I'm
Oh, you
saying
mean
the
Joe?
sender.
No, I
of
think
that
it's a nice,
message.
clean way of putting it. I commend
Yeah.
them for
Okay.
that. I know it's a bit
American.
It's a bit greased too. But
Did you give her a hickey?
yeah,
That's a love bite. It's okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty
That's
safe. on that.
terrible. I mean, I don't know what I'd do in that case.
Yeah, I insist that all the phones in the house are put on airplane mode before we even get to heavy petting.
Really? That's safe sex gone crazy.
You can't be too careful, I think.
Now,
What else?
I'll
Oh,
tell you what
sorry.
else. 147 has written to say this. Standing on a bra clasp hurts. Just tried it with 4 bras. Load of rubbish. Get a grip.
I love that they've done the experiment now.
Okay. 147. You want to play? Let's play. Because I'm afraid
Give
you're...
him a break.
Yeah.
Very good. When I said you want to play Let's Play, I was quoting Lee Ryan from Blue. I don't actually talk like
I
that.
see.
Okay.
He said that last night and I enjoyed it. I'm not talking about the bra clasp, the bit at the back. That's the only bit men are familiar with, and we know why.
Well, you do get those front claspy ones. Remember those? They still exist.
I remember them, my friend, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the adjuster bit. Are you familiar?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
that
on the
bit.
straps.
Yeah.
So sometimes that can get raised.
Yeah.
Because it gets fashioned into the shape of the shoulder as well.
I see.
That's what hurts. Try that 4 times, 147.
So 147, go to the adjust. Leave the pile of bras where they are.
Yeah.
But just move them about a bit so that you're working more on adjuster than clasp. And then if you would retext us and let's see how you like them apples. We truly are in Greece too.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We've had a text in from Matt Davis.
Oh, I think he's going to say Matt Damon.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
That would have been exciting.
I like Matt Davis. Sounds like the sort of person I would have dated in
I
the
like
80s.
Matt Damon. He's the sort of person I would have damed. Sorry. Can we do that again,
happened
Jeff? Live, you say? Oh, my God.
Anyway, Matt says, can I apologise on behalf of the city of Cardiff for the egging of Alan?
No.
However, isn't throwing eggs at the Cockerel the avian version of throwing knickers at Tom Jones? We like that, Matt.
Very good.
Very fine. That's
Apology
a good
accepted. And I did enjoy 3 happy years there. So
one.
I've got
In Cardiff?
Yeah. I
Wait.
studied in Cardiff.
Oh, I thought you...
was good.
I hadn't got the train fare.
Yeah, I was too stingy.
I didn't know you studied in Cardiff.
Well, now you do.
Drama?
Every day's a school day, isn't
You
it,
did
as
drama?
you say?
You two sound like you're on a
I
date
did,
making small talk and it's not working out.
I did acting there, yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend did her degree in Cardiff. She lived in a artist's commune.
She lived
Yeah,
in
me
a
too.
commune, didn't she?
Me too.
You lived in...
Big
I imagine you lived in a
artist commune I lived
commune.
in. Yeah.
Is this commune?
I mainly stayed in the attic. And
He was
just
in the
muttered
attic.
like,
Shall we, speaking of tucked away corners, what about a little return to...
While you're doing that, someone's located a Hank Marvin tea towel on eBay. I've just found it
really?
now. It's new. It says Hank Marvin. It costs £4. You can bid for it. And I've just seen a little sign coming up. It's got a picture of Hank with his guitar.
Brilliant.
And it says, one person is viewing this. Currently viewing
It
this.
says on the tea
Per
towel.
hour.
on,
No.
on
Is that the
eBay.
slogan?
Yeah, on eBay. No, the slogan is Hank Marvin 2000.
I think that's a brilliant idea, a tour tea towel. Never heard of it before.
Well, I think you
People
should do
use
one.
tea towels as much these days.
I
though.
do. Not only do I use them for cleaning crockery, I also dry my hands on them quite a lot.
Right.
I'm glad we know that now.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Email corner. What do we got?
Interesting harmonies this week. Hi, Frank, Emily and Alan.
I've got to be honest with you, I didn't feel that one really worked.
No,
You know when you're halfway through a harmony and you feel I'm lost?
I went too deep.
I'm completely lost.
Just wanted to get in quickly with what I believe is the first Peter the Wild reference of 2014.
Oh, goody.
Not quite. I think the
do-
first
think
show of the
I've
year had
already-
some.
Yeah, I think I mentioned the fact there's an exhibition which we're going to
did.
go to.
That's right.
Oh, can we go to that,
We're
Dave?
going to have a works
Group day
outing.
out.
Can we get VIP tickets? Thank you.
I was thought, yeah, there'll be loads of those at the Peter the Wild thing.
There always are.
There'll
when
be a
I'm
red
around.
carpet event. There'll be everything.
I reckon we could get comps for Peter the Wild.
Do you think we can?
Yeah.
How much are they then? £7?
I'll get my people to call.
Okay.
Is
Oh,
this
will you?
email corner or thinking aloud corner? Is that what's happening?
My people will speak to Peter the Wild people.
Imagine if we got Freebs for Peter the Wild exhibition.
feel
That would be quite a
so
low point, wouldn't
proud.
it? Proud.
I'd like it. I'd like it. I was fortunate enough to be wandering around Norwich this week when I stumbled upon a pub dedicated to Peter the Wild.
Can I say, by the way, in case anyone's a new listener,
Oh,
Peter the
yeah.
Wild was a feral boy who was captured. It's true, he was feral, he lived in the woods, and he was captured and given to George I as a gift. And he kept him in a leather collar, which is a bit harsh. And then he
was a
was
court
a bit
curiosity.
Court
was how it was
curiosity, and then he
Oh,
was
nice.
demoted. He left the court. He lived, I think, wherever he lived, maybe in Norwich, and he was famous for walking around with singing songs with no words and staring at fires.
and eating raw onions.
Eating
Oh yeah,
raw
raw
onions,
onion.
which-
I always forget the raw onions.
I never forget. That's the thing I remember, because it just makes me think that he met a hypnotist years before that, and he just thinks, I love apples.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to be wandering around Norwich this week when I stumbled upon a pub dedicated to Peter the Wild. The Wild Man commemorates the time when an older and wiser Peter, post-court years, mysteriously arrived in the city in 1751, where he was arrested as a sturdy vagrant. Locals claimed he resembled an orangutan,
See
apparently,
again, anti-ginger. Prejudice.
but with a very loving look in his eyes. That's what you want, isn't it? An orangutan with a loving
was
look
there
in
a
their
fire
eyes.
just over their shoulder when they were talking to him?
Anyway, he was imprisoned in the city.
Oh no.
Different times.
They were.
And
Yeah.
while detained, a fire broke out.
Of course.
While other
course.
prisoners were released to save them from the blaze, Peter instead chose to remain and indulged in his old favourite pastime of fire watching, and had to be forcibly dragged out. Today, the pub on the street where he was held is adorned with the words "Peter the Wild Boy mysteriously turned up in Norwich," and the whole event is marked with a blue plaque.
Brilliant.
Some say Norwich doesn't get a lot right, but this has to be up there with its finest achievements. I've attached a link for your perusal. I've looked at that link, and those pictures are there.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Wild Man. Let's go for a drink at the Wild
He
Man.
worked
I'd
at
go
the
for that.
pub.
Day out to Norwich. I don't think he worked there. I think he was in there.
I thought it was a cellar, man. Do you think the bloke ever said Peter the Mild? I love that.
He was in the cellar like Cockerel was in the attic.
That's from Joel126, who puts the acronym LTLFTW. Long-term listener, first-time writer. I think.
Fabulous. So that's another out, Migerton, Norwich.
Great. I
And
know.
Oh, yeah.
do a Peter the Wild
There's
walk.
an arts centre. You could pop it on your tour.
Yeah. And Walsingham, it's not far away, well-known Roman Catholic shrine, which I once put in my contract when Loose Women was filmed in Norwich. I put it in my contract, but as well as doing the show, they had to drive me to Walsingham to worship. How about that for
That's the next
Loose
thing I was
Women?
gonna mention.
Loose Women clause.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Infighting has broken out between the listeners.
Oh.
It's a bit like a jailhouse rock. It's a prison riot. One
If
of
you can't find a partner, use a wooden chair. That's my motto. It's
one
worse
of our
than Lego.
listeners. Do you remember 147?
Yes.
Yeah,
147 stood on
on the
some-
bras.
on
and got angry with me.
Yeah.
Said get a grip. 692 he said please ask 147 to put a three-pin mains plug prongs up on the floor, cover with duvet, and then step on it.
Well,
Or maybe he's
we
being
could
nice.
ask him to do that, but I mean, I think that would be unnecessary. I just want to know if he's had any success with the adjuster experiment.
He's saying cover with duvet. In fairness,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, but even so,
That probably makes it okay, doesn't it?
do you think that would help?
Depending on the tog.
Oh yeah, it's all about toggage.
Innit?
And also, what about if you get that bit where it's gone into the, when it goes into the centre,
yeah.
and then you just get a bit of loose cover at the side.
Yeah, it'd be all right.
yeah.
Hate that.
So Simon has emailed us.
Yes.
He says, "Hi Emily, Frank, and Alan. Emily
Simon
recently
say?
told us she is an expert at removing stains."
You did make
Yes.
that boast.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's correct. I am. We have highlighter pen lines on our leather sofa,
Oh.
Highlighter pen.
and I can't get them out. What do you think is the best thing to use? Thanks very much, and loving the show, from Simon. Well,
Do you think they were having a discussion about their sofa, and the wife said, "I really like this bit here," and highlighted it, and also this bit, and she highlighted them so that she'd be
Yeah.
able to refer to them easily if she needed to. And then after the conversation, she's thought to herself, footballer's 10. She's looked up,
Yeah.
she's seen the highlight, and she's thought,
maybe they were doing chores list and they were having an argument. You said you'd do that, and they was highlighting. I
Yeah.
suspect it was the wife doing it, getting angry. Anyway, Simon, what I would say to you is, I would describe leather as one of the toughest mistresses.
Yes,
It's very
well,
Yes,
I
you
know
and Peter the Wild.
in the S&M community, that's a tired old cliche that we use.
But what I would advise, whitening toothpaste with a toothbrush, can always test on a hidden area, natch first.
Of course.
Not an exposed area. Whitening toothpaste, you can use hairspray, can sometimes loosen the chemical in the highlighter pen.
Oh.
Two suggestions.
That is a good
Hairspray's
try.
great for things.
It reminds me of the time I accidentally got Tipex on adamant. You see what he did? He embraced it and used it to his own advantage. I'd been dipping it in a pig's trotter, and as I brought it up, I dragged it across his face.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text in that I think we should address before we move on after Emily's excellent stain advice. Please can you tell Emily that her public would really appreciate Emily's top tips for stain removal. I've become quite excited about the whitening toothpaste bit, and I'm already preparing said paste and sponge to have a go.
Lovely.
Or
Don't
should it be on a
forget-
brush, Pat says.
Yeah, you could do it on a brush. I would go on a brush, because you'll scrape out the particles.
Can I just say I'm loving this section of the show.
But don't forget to experiment on an unseen area.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of
Frank,
the-
can you
of the
imagine if
couch.
I became really famous as a stain remover? Had my own show.
I think that would be... I think that should be the text tunes. What should that show be called? Emily Dean advises people on how to remove
Yeah.
stain.
I have,
Emily Dean, Stain Queen.
I have a question for you. It's not a stain remover,
Go
but
on.
I've eaten a few things this week that I've not eaten for a while, or ever, in
Sorry,
fact.
you lost
actually.
me at I've eaten a few things this week.
Okay. I ate kippers in the home and could not get the smell out of the
I
house.
warned you about kippers last week.
I
did
can't
not?
even remember that. I don't remember being warned.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them.
Frank
but I
talked
don't-
of little else.
Yeah.
Really?
recently.
Little
I've had
Else was my ex-girlfriend of mine.
I've had a
Had a hit in
memory
the
blank.
1950s, didn't she? With locomotion.
she was a fabulous girl because, okay, there weren't much of her, but what was there? She got a big personality to compensate.
But not little
Yeah.
else.
Why is everyone on this radio show obsessed by kippers? I can't bear it.
I really enjoyed the eating, but the smell afterwards, even...
Yes.
I've got a tall house. It's on a small footprint, but it's tall. 3-storey house. It's,
Yeah.
I've done all right.
Okay.
No, we've got a nice tall house, but even on the
Okay.
top floor I could smell kippers afterwards, and I was thinking, is this going to affect my clothes in the wardrobe?
Relationship.
Well,
No,
it's a bit like the...
Does Mrs. Cockerel like the kippers?
Yeah, she's had a kipper or two in her time.
Oh, God bless her.
Honestly, it's like, they say that estate agents reckon that you should bake bread and make fresh coffee in your
Yes.
home if you're trying to sell it. It's like we've agreed we are never trying to sell this house. It's the opposite
Yeah.
So you're
of that
trying to
advice.
keep the house.
We're keeping the house
It's
anyway.
like a
but
motorway was being built through the house.
absolutely stank.
And you've done that. Well,
Cannot
my,
get rid of the smell of the kipper.
my girlfriend does a lot of fish.
Vanilla candles.
A lot of microwave fishy. And the microwave smells so much of fish. It's had some... that everything now I microwave. If I warm up the tea, cup
Right.
of tea...
Oh, is it fish tea?
just a little bit... It's like a sort of a fish conversion chamber it's become.
It's
Everything.
like you're basically living in Captain Birdseye's ship permanently.
everything. Everything's turned to fish.
Oh.
The Guardian.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had quite a few texts offering titles for Emily Dean's television programme where she fixes people's stains. How about this as a name for the stain
Can I just say I
removing
will
show?
draw the line at certain stains.
Emily
Yeah.
Dean, absolutely spotless, in reference to the review of our Frank.
And
Yeah.
it's got absolute in it as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, very good. Emily Dean, the brain behind the stain. That's
Yeah,
good because
I really like that.
You are intelligent. You're a graduate.
You're a graduate.
You're a graduate. aren't
That's the
you?
most depressing praise I've ever received. So is every fool these days. I went
With,
uni, got a law degree.
Okay, well, let's move on. To get rid of fishy microwave, this is another text. To get rid of fishy microwave, put bowl of water with drop of washing up liquid on high for 2 to 3 minutes. Steams nicely, loosens stuck on food and gets rid of smells. Good luck. Thank you, 608.
Oh, you should try that, Frank.
If I tried that, though, my girlfriend will say that she's then got some sort of poisoning toxics from the fairy liquid.
She'll then
whatever it is.
no.
Very
What she'll
small
say is,
amount, though.
I know.
you'll do it,
A
and then
drop.
she'll come home with a few sea anemones she'll want to put in there.
Yeah, but she'll say everything tastes like soap now. I know for
Yeah.
a fact she'll definitely.
Okay.
What about Emily cloth?
Emily
Oh.
Cloth. Don't know if I get that. Is that a pun?
Emery, you know Emery cloth?
Isn't it Emery board?
You get Emery...
I don't think so.
I'm sure you get Emery cloth.
Oh, don't worry, it's only the worst thing ever.
I want to ask 608 if they've got any advice about belly button fluff. You know, I mentioned my belly button fluff on the show last week.
I do remember. That's awful.
I had a moment this week. I nearly texted you guys. I got up, showered, as is my wont, drove somewhere, half an hour had passed, and I already had belly button fluff.
That's ridiculous.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Where's it coming from?
I don't know.
He's a secret Angora wearer.
There's something wrong there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's wrong. Cheap showering products that leave a film on you and it's sticking to it.
Well, look, I
will not have you slag off Old Spice.
I'll give you my domestic tip for your belly button fluff, and I'd say what you should do is wear a sellotape cummerbund.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That'll gather it. I have to say, sellotape cummerbund was brilliant in Sherlock the other night.
That's the child I'm going to have. with
Yeah,
him.
or get a wooden stick and go around like a candy floss machine.
Thinking of shaving my entire body, see if that helps.
Okay, well, I'll help. So anyway...
I'm leaving. I'm off.
Have you got any Veet before you go? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.